Last chance of incident report for today. No, we could have more incident reports. What's an incident report? Well, most places where you work, if it's like something gets broken or someone gets hurt, you're supposed to fill out one of these forms. It's usually like a photocopy form. It's in a filing cabinet, and unless somebody doesn't know how to access the original and the last one already is used, and then you're like, I didn't file an incident report because, well, there was none of those papers there. And, well, I don't know, because you don't know what was on there that they wanted you to talk about. So in the end, incident reports are supposed to help management understand what's going on that could be remedied so that this unfortunate event doesn't reoccur. And what actually happens in reality is we get so much paperwork that we find ourselves don't know. It's just something that I know that we do. We end up making very expensive reports, and then the recommendations on them might not get acted upon. And, it's simply, well, people that really studied this said this should be this way. And then you're going to say, well, I know, but it's interfering with my other business. So you're always managing these different businesses to see, I'm still trying to maximize value to myself. And, I'm still trying to tune all these machines together so I can maximize value. And then the question becomes, well, what is your value, and can it be measured the way you're trying to measure it? And if there's one underlying thing that you got to have before you can have the other things, then it's going to be money on planet Earth. And it's kind of a distortion of whatever it is, because in itself it's just for transferring value from one thing to another. And when we have no more values other than this is a very profitable in money opportunity, and I'm going to move my money from this stock to the next stock in the stock market because I'm a sharp investor, or I'm not going to support those kind of companies that make like arms for warfare and maybe alcohol, beverage alcohol, a kind of a morality kind of play. Well, in the end, even the morality play has got only so much money. But you put them all together in a stew, and what have you got? You've got no real goal of improving our social needs. So we have this balancing act of what is really important right now versus all these other things that are important but maybe not right now. And, if you go and you box them all up and you say to individual people, well, if you eat this chocolate, you're going to experience this. And if you eat this chocolate, you might not get the same experience as you would get from the other one. Beyond just the taste of that's a maraschino cherry and this one is like a rum ball taste. But, if these were like magic chocolates, and depending on which chocolate you choose, your whole experience of life will change beyond just experiencing that taste of that flavoring in your chocolate. to get you more into this idea. We're trying to change people's minds about reality. And in our world, everyone has their own set of reality tools that they're using. And when we go and try and communicate with one another about, what actually happened, quite often we're told that even eyewitnesses to murder are often shown to be wrong in like police lineups. The takeaway for us as humans is that we're not only infallible, no, we're not infallible. That's like, no, we're basically saying every time we go and we study these things, we find there's so many places where humans fall down. It's like if I'm in Canada, we have a royal commission into like media ownership in like 1977, and a whole pile of money was spent to go and find out what we needed to know. And then the report was submitted to the government, and then we have no idea these days if any of the recommendations in the Royal Commission are active. And this was an important enough issue that in that day, the government felt that they needed to be seen to be doing something, and they didn't know what to do. So this is what they did. They got a really good study because they paid so much for it and they interviewed so many people. And that's not the only Royal Commission in Canada that's made reports that are all like, people don't even know how much money, how many millions and millions Canadian taxpayers have paid to have these issues studied and to get expert recommendations. We never get a report card from the Auditor General's office. That's like the best we have. They usually go and find a lot of stinky stuff when it comes to government, waste, and corruption. But, the Auditor General is hemmed in by what their mandate is, and they can't always go into these other things. But the Royal Commission stuff, no one's reporting on that. Reporters these days are totally mouthpiece for whatever they're told to talk about. And investigative reporters seem to have disappeared from the news. So we don't know if we spent millions of dollars on solutions for problems that we're still having today. We paid for good answers, and were some of them implemented? 10%? 100% of this one, but for the next 500 items, none of them were implemented? What's the state of affairs? If these were really big things, what's the state of affairs then? And what's the state of affairs now? Who's looking into all of these things that we've studied and paid so much money for? Nobody. Nobody even knows where to find these things. You could spend your whole evening looking on the internet to go and find these old reports and read them and say, geez, this is a good idea. This whole report, they got really good stuff. This should get done again. And then you go looking for somebody who cares. It's not an issue today. It's not hot in the media. Who cares? And in the old days, the investigative newspapers who had deep enough pockets to pay for reporters to investigate, they don't do that anymore. So we have lost the Fifth Estate, which is the name of an old Canadian investigative news thing that we used to watch. So without the Fifth Estate doing its deep investigations, our government is not accountable. It's not accountable. When these things come out, then it causes the minister of whatever problem is to stand up in the House of Commons and say what the hell's going on, and this doesn't happen. All of the crises are investigated, and then nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens, and then some other crisis comes along, and 4 crises later you go, hey, whatever happened to this crisis that was actually about, if the prime minister is actually a criminal? Nothing happens. And then you're told, well, you got to wait till the next election date. This is so disempowering to the people. The people should be able to not have to have this bullshit drama with real human consequences forever and ever. So we are calling for major change in the governance systems on planet Earth. And we got to have more people start understanding that these problems just don't go away. These things were built on purpose to be very strong. And they have lots of other brainwashing techniques to make you feel like, these are the laws of the land. You don't like it, buddy, you can leave. These kind of attitudes that people have about things that they were born into. They didn't even choose these things. They're basically, it's the way it is. I was born here. And, that kind of thing, that's just an unbelievable lack of mental attitudes. Everything is like being a sheeple, being a drone. And even the people who understand this are often sheeple about certain issues because all of us are so deeply conditioned by this brainwashing. It's like you peel off an onion skin, like one layer of the onion, and you go, oh, now I'm awake on this. Now I know what's going on. And then something else happens, and it peels another layer of the onion away. And everything that, a week ago you were like, this is the way it is, dude. Now it's like you're looking at that and you're going, whatever I was involved in a week ago, now I'm not given to feel the same way about it. And so we conclude tonight's talks by reminding you that once you've listened to me, we do recommend lots of time alone where you can ponder my words for you. Thank you for letting me be a pain in the ass, and tune in tomorrow because I'm sure that I'll have some other reasons to talk about it.